Hello, my name is Jack Blade. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. We are going to do another blueprints video. For those who watched the last one, holy crap, where did you guys come from? Over 16,000 views on that video. It is insane. It is by far the best received video by you guys I have ever published. And now the competition is, can we one-up it? The last video had 10,000 views in the first 24 hours. Let's see if we can get that to 15,000 in the first 24 hours. Can we do that? Like, send it to all your friends, family, extended family, that acquaintance you haven't talked to in 6 years. Just send them like a random, like Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp like thing. Like, hey, watch this all the way through. Thank you. Like it is insane. We've also more than doubled the population in the Discord server from 92 to last I looked at 205. It is crazy. Now we're showing more blueprints, and if you guys want these blueprints, what I think you should do is head on over to the Discord, go into the Google Drive chat, and there is a link that goes to the Google Drive. Pick up all the blueprints I am using. They are free and available and easy to use, especially since I'm going to explain a little bit about how to use them in this video. Now, let's get into this and have some real fun. Okay, so blueprint number 1 is going to be the same as blueprint number 2 and 3 as well. Blueprint number 1 is a main world bus for Conveyor. We're looking at, like, for those who missed reading the title and like missed the hints on the thumbnail, we're looking at train, railways, and like world infrastructure type blueprints. So this is a main world bus. This is one of those buses that's supposed to be able to like extend its use as needed kind of thing. So if you look at this, there are 16 belts, and all of these belts are moving in that direction. But if we go up here, there's another 16 belts, and they're moving the opposite direction. So what you end up with is a two-way bus that can handle 16 belts, and you can upgrade. Like if you're in tier, like you have unlocked, so you have the Mark 5 or Mark 6 belts, upgrading this would just make it even more effective, right? But right now I'm using Mark 3 belts, going off of the assumption that when you use this, you have just unlocked blueprint designers in the first place, because this is the Mark 1 blueprint designer. So basically, how you use this, very simply put, is you place one of these, right? With the direction of the belts where you want to go. If you want this to move the other direction, go right ahead. The way that I've made them is exactly like that. So these belts move there, they may move west, these move east, like the top ones move east. And then if you then want to extend this, of course, you can extend this however far you want. Then you want to extend this, you place first one of these. 4x4 fixed foundation blueprint, like I also have those. And then you place this down, and then you place another one of these. They might take some nudging to get them to line up perfectly, but they are very, very nice to have like that. And then you can connect your belts in between, or if you have a miner coming in, for example, you can then take your, like say that this is the miner coming in, say it's coming in over here. I can bring that in and go like, yep, I am hooking you up over, let's say there, and you are going to go into, boom, into this belt, right? There. And then you can just add in resources. So now I have more resources on your belt. Or if you're like, okay, now we have gotten some of these resources, now I need to bring them out to a factory, you can just go and have them go out. You can make them go the other direction. So now they are going out and they're going into your new like steel foundry where you're making heavy modular frames or whatever. That's why I have this open space before I place the next one. So you don't just place bus. You place bus empty, so that you have this space. And they're lifted up one so that you can run other belts underneath. And same thing up here, that you have 2 floors where you can run things underneath without any, like, having to use any kind of weird trickery and stuff like that. It's literally just, there's enough space for everything. So that's blueprint number 1. Let's move to blueprint number 2. Like I said, blueprint number 2 and 3, they're pretty similar to this, like they're the same essentially, just with fewer belts. So sometimes, in terms of like performance, your computer might not be able to handle like thousands upon thousands of kilometers, or like 16 belts going all over the world, but you don't want to use tractors, you don't want to use trains or whatever, then this is like a compromise of that. Or if you want to run like these like parallel lines, or like perpendicular lines, what do you even call it? This one line and then this one like that crosses that. Then it like doesn't need as many belts, or like are busing in resources to your main bus with 16 belts. Then this one is a really good choice for like, okay, I want to empty another biome of resources, boom, here. So that's a really, really good one. Let's move to blueprint number 3. Once again, we're just halving the amount of belts, so now there's 4x4 belts. Here's the fun thing with this setup, right? Because the initial thought is like, why are these 3 of the belts? Well, this one is quite funny, because what you could do with this, like theoretically, is get rid of the belts entirely, and you can modify this by yourself. Get rid of the belts entirely and run tractors here instead. Run railways up here, or the opposite. And suddenly you can run trains here, and you can run like cars, like tractors, trucks, and stuff down here instead. And then that might be interesting. Suddenly you have like an easy like vehicle bus instead. All up to you how you want to use it. So really, like the structure itself with 2 floors like this, that is the real like template. And then you put in pipes, you make it for like vehicles, you make it for belts, whichever mark you can or want to, and whatever. That's essentially what these 3 are. And the reason why wanted to show all 3 of them like this, and it might feel like a cheap out whatever when it comes to like infrastructure, then that is because I want to open your eyes to 1, different levels of it. I want to make sure that you feel like, yeah, but I don't need 16 belts. Why the hell would I use that? It feels so overkill. And that's okay, because if you pick up all my blueprints, you get all 3 of them. You can pick the one that fits you best, or you can modify them to a way that suits you best. For example, remove all the belts and run tractors instead. Remove the belts and run railways, or run railways down here and tractors up here, or belts here, or pipes there. No matter what you want to do, okay? So essentially, that's the main world like bus line, if you want that. Now, let's look at some power. Number 4. So this is just your average power tower with platform, so you can use get up and use the zip lines. I have just extended the connection points by adding in 4. There's only 4 connections in here, right? So I have plugged all of them into these, which are Mark II power, what are they called? Power pole. So, and then I've added in some light, some decoration and stuff like that. I've like framed this, and I left this open so you can add ladders here. And you can place this literally on top of anything, because the way that the blueprinter works is that the box, the hit box for the blueprint, ends where the floor is, right? Which is where the 1 meter foundation is. So even though it goes down a little bit, you're gonna be able to place it perfectly flat on a 2x2 like foundation, or if you want to place it on like a pillar, or whatever you want to use it for. Essentially, you can do whatever you want with this, and it's already perfectly aligned, so you don't have to mess with that stuff. It's already there. Just like place it down wherever you want, and it's set up, and now you can connect it to the next power line and the next power tower and the next. You can just keep going, and it speeds up your infrastructure development in terms of power a lot faster, unless you want to use the train railways to expand on your power network, which is also something you can do. I don't blame anyone who does it. I did that in my Ultimate Let's Play update 8. I have chosen to not do that in update 1.0 in the Ultimate Let's Play, because I wanted to be able to, if needed, shut down the railway system without shutting down the power to the rest of the world. So that's something that I've also been doing now, been building like the world power network. And I realized like I haven't decorated that at all. It looks like crap. And I wanted to give you guys something that might help you guys make yours look better. And I have to go and basically rebuild mine with this. So yeah, let's move on to our 5th blueprint. Okay, so I basically went into like the last blueprint video thinking like, okay, let's add some hypertube cannons and stuff like that. People really appreciated the hypertube cannon and stuff. And some baby Jesus is his name, gave me suggestion for like a different kind and everything. And then when we did the blueprint stream last Sunday, we made this together with chat. And this is a what would you call it? Like a centrifugal cannon kind of thing, where you go in here and then this will suck you in, like you go in here, out here, and this will suck you in. And then depending on if you are pressing left or right, you will either be thrown out or go around and go in here. And then once you go out here, you will be sucked in again, and you will keep accelerating exponentially. So if you do this, like go say 6, 7, 8 laps, depending on the size of the biome, you can probably throw yourself from one end of the biome to the other. And if you keep going, say like 20 laps, 25 laps, you can probably throw yourself across the map. But you can pick how far you want to go. So it's a lot more, like you have a lot more control over how powerful the cannon is versus the linear version. So that you can actually blueprint a cannon that throws you across the entire map rather than like just a part. This blueprint is called the Yeetificator 9000 plus 1. Sven in the Discord chat probably tried to upvote it by writing +1, and me being a troll went like, okay, 9000 plus 1, okay, and added that into the name. So that is official now. And then let's move on to our actual railway blueprints. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you so much for everyone's support. And like this video does not have like a sponsor segment or anything like that, so this is the sponsor segment, and the sponsors are you guys. It's the people watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, joining the Discord, and like joining the streams and having fun. Now, something like my goal for this year is to have gotten to the point where I have at least 10 members or Patreons, like the combined number being 10. And I am currently at 4, and I have also made it so that now you guys can support from $1 a month. So if you want to support, pick either YouTube memberships or Patreon. Patreon gives me more money. YouTube keeps a lot more money than Patreon does. But either way, I am happy for any support given. And I'm really looking forward to going on this journey with you. And like the perks are the same no matter how much you support with. So if you pick $1 or $25, it doesn't matter. The perks, the benefits you get are the same. And yeah, so head on over. There are links in the description. And any support you give, even if it's just watching the videos, because like this is free content. And there's no pressure, no nothing to do anything more than what you want to do. And ultimately, I love you guys for just watching the video. So I also have a birthday stream coming up. Literally this video goes up, and then 16 hours later at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on October 24th, my birthday stream will go live, and we will be going for 6 hours, and we will be playing Sherlock Holmes, The Awakened, which is a like Lovecraftian mind bend mix between Sherlock Holmes story and like Lovecraftian horror. So we're gonna try and see how long it will go before I start crying from fear, because I am not good with horror games. And then we come and hang out. That's all I'm asking. And bring ghost stories, by the way. Yeah. Now let's get back to the video. All right. So blueprint number 6 is the main blueprint, the main section railway, which is, as you can see, there's no railway on it because of how like slopes up and down work and how like curves can work and stuff like that. Having like a standard railway in the blueprint tend to end up being like very inflexible. So I won't put that in. It's something that you need to put in as you place it down, or if you want a section, like you can do that yourself. Just add it into the blueprint designer and like add in whatever you want and change it however you want. But essentially, I have made it so that this is easy to place down and easy to build out from and replicate from. And to show that very, very quickly, I have essentially placed one down, I pillared up, and I centered it on that middle pillar, or like concrete pillar. And then I went out from there and just built a little bit of a railway here. And as you can see, I placed in with curves and everything. And the max distance between these is, by the way, 12. So, and I have one of the blueprints is literally like a measuring stick. So hopefully that helps. They have also been hooked up with lights and power. So if you want lights to go on and like actually light things up, there's one there at the top as well. If you want these lights on, all you gotta do is plug in this power to your network, to like a train station or whatever you want. But they're like measured the same way as the railway. So you have, if you keep them 12 long, you can still pull one single cable between the like sections, like the supports, so to speak. Because here we got, or rather, like now, then what you do is when you've placed everything down and you have the curves you want to, and like you've planned it out pretty much, you just remove these and add in supports, and you are gold. You have your railway. And yeah, I'm making a second video on trains, like a part 2. Like the first one had a lot of questions pertaining to like slopes up and down, and like some technical questions on like how do I make signals work, and some people had a little bit of problem with that. So I'm gonna make a part 2 where I dive a little bit more into the nitty gritty. So keep an eye out for that if you want to see like specific examples of how I apply these blueprints. Now let's move to the next one. This is our blueprint number 7, and it is essentially a like smaller, simpler version of the 6th one that is supposed to be like an intermediate like support where you don't have all the bells and whistles, you don't have all the lights, you don't have all of those things. You just have like the power connection goes through, you have like a little bit of light here, you have this instead, and yeah, you can place that down however you want to, but if you have the right or the red and like green interchanged or whatever, if you want green on one side, red on one side, you can do that however you want. But essentially, like simplified version of the first one. It's a lot cheaper when it comes to the steel and stuff like that, but it works just the same way. So this is a variant of that. So without staying too long here, we're just going to move on to the next one. And here we go, number 8. Here we have the, what do we call this? We have the supports for the what are you called? Like the railway, like platforms. As you can see, we're very easily just placed in, and you can build from this. You can build up, you can build down, you can do whatever you want with this. And they have lights and everything placed into them. And I tried to make them like stylistically interesting, but without being like overbearing. If you're trying to like have a road underneath, or you have like different kind of sections or whatever it is, then you can very easily go with this. Or, which is like a thing that literally just popped into my brain, if you want multiple layers of railways, you could, for example, hook this in, like just remove these, and then just keep placing supports on top, and then place another, like place those on top and have this as a second level if you want to. That way you can have 4 lanes on 2 different levels. One lane that just does input, and one lane that only does output, one lane that is prioritized with like water only, and one, like you can do that however you want to. So you can like layer this, like yeah, the imagination is the limit, right? And hopefully, like, even if these blueprints doesn't jive with you, my real like purpose with doing these videos at all and like talking to you guys about Satisfactory at all is like you play the game the way you want to play the game. And part of that is me and other content creators trying to inspire you and help you find a way to enjoy the games or the game the way you want. But if you feel stuck in a rut or whatever it is, my hope is that these videos will help you out of that to get on to and do new stuff. And on that note, we also need to move on and go to the next blueprint. And our next blueprint is a measuring stick. So with the width of this being 3 foundations, where you have the center being 2 full foundations and the ends being 2 half foundations, I made a measuring stick that is literally that. And when you're placing down, you're gonna need to nudge, because if you look, there is a bit of a, you can see this beam is gonna be a little bit in the way, so you're gonna have to nudge it in to make it like flush with the foundations on those. But if you place 3 of these, that's the 12 foundations. That is the maximum length that you can extend railways before they tell you it's too long. Can't do it. So if you want to run a long railway or you want to have like even spacing, using this kind of blueprint, and the same thing goes for like that over there, having a 4x4, like having a measurement blueprint that you can easily use for like symmetrical spacing and stuff like that is 100% recommended. And like I've done this with a like with the Mark 1 blueprinter, but if you have the Mark 3 blueprinter, you could make this 6 long, in which case you only need 2 blueprints placed down to be able to, and then go like, okay, here's the next one. And I've also like placed this at exactly the same height as the level here, which means that when you're using blueprint snapping, they snap to the right point. They don't snap too low, they don't snap too high or to the side. They're gonna snap here at the right height and be completely flush and even. So that's a very easy way that I have set that up. Now, let's move to our 10th, final, most complex, like almost might need a mod to be utilized. Bit of invention of mine. And not intentionally, I was just messing around and this came up. So in testing different ways you can do slopes that was outside of the norm, so I could add something extra to the video, I made a slope that is just slightly slopier than your standard, because normally when you place a slope, it can only go on the 2-meter ramps, because if you place it on the 4-meter ramps, it says that it is too steep. So if I go here and I say, let's go, railroad track is too steep. So it works here. I place here and I go, let's go, this is no problem. So I tried to come up with something that can go in between those two. So you can have it a little bit steeper than the 2-meter, but it's not going to be as steep as the 4-meter. So like if you want to call it like a 3-meter, I don't know, I can't measure that really, but a 3-meter incline, that's pretty much what this is. And the only real way for you to place this down and have it be even is with infinite nudge. Because then I can lock it and I have vertical nudging where I can hold shift and press up until it is perfectly aligned, or like close enough to perfectly. I might be able to move it out, I would say there. So like then suddenly you can do the whole like, hey, I have like a little bit steeper slope, and then it's like messing around with that is what you will be able to do. So for example, if I wanted to have that a little bit steeper slope, I can place that, remove this, and then connect these up. Boom. And that is a little bit steeper than the 2-meter slope, but not as steep as a 4-meter slope. So yeah, That's another blueprint. So if you want to mess around with that, and like if you can figure out how to place this evenly without using infinite nudge, I would like to know, because that would be magical. Because I haven't figured it out yet, and I would love to. I mean, I could look at if I look at this and see how high that was, because that is like the perfect height, and I place a vertical and go like this, that is gonna be too high, right? If I place a second one, yes. So if I go with a 1 meter foundation, maybe 2 meter foundation is perfect there. Yeah, okay, so if I can line this up and then line up with that edge, that would be like the perfect. Like it would be that kind of stuff. So it's not necessarily a very user friendly, but it is for those people who are like, oh, I need this to be slope to be steeper. I need to, like, whatever. Because I'm one of those people, and I don't like that we only have the 2 meter foundation normally to go up with, and I don't necessarily want to have to mess with like making like spirals and stuff like that to like reach heights without using a lot of horizontal space with trains. So this for me is like a really fun blueprint to have made and to have found, and I am sending it out into the world to say, keep experimenting with mechanics. Beams makes you able to do some really funky stuff. So does pillars and road barriers and stuff like that. So if you can figure out a way to get like to like the 4 meter steepness, or if you know a way and I just haven't found it, a 4 meter steepness without getting like stuck or like having to go through a like too much manual labor. Because if you're building a world railroad, you know, like, yeah, it's gonna be hell. But yeah, like essentially these are our 10 blueprints. They're all gonna be in the Discord, in the like Google Drive link you can find there, along with all my other blueprints. And as you can see, there are a few, and you can go nuts with all of them. There's a lot of new ones since the last video, because in the blueprint stream we did, we made more like simple templates to be used for all of the normal or basic machines for like phase 2. So those are like foundries, like assemblers, constructors, smelters, stuff like that. So you have a lot of fun stuff that you can play around with now. And my advice is go pick everything up and head on over to your own worlds, put in the blueprints in the blueprint folder, and go nuts. And remember, we have a birthday stream coming up, so go join that and bring your scariest stories, so I can be even more terrified than I already will be. And then I would also love your support on Patreon or YouTube membership. Links are in the description. Otherwise, I love you guys for just being here. Now, let's try and get this video to 15,000 views instead of 10,000 views in 24 hours. I am counting on you guys. Let's go. Bye.